Well, hi everyone. Hey, thanks for joining me today on my Central Coast Market Update podcast. Be sure you hit like and subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Of course, YouTube if you want to look and see us as opposed to listen. So today, I'm so excited to have Elizabeth Griffin from Placer Title. Thanks for being here today. Placer Title, Paso Robles. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. She's going to be going over the escrow process. It's such an important part of real estate transactions, and I've asked Elizabeth today to go over some questions that I know some of you have asked me, and just the process of escrow in general and what that means. So first, however, before we do that, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been doing escrow. Long time, I know.
A long time. So I actually started in title. I moved up here in 1996 to go to Cal Poly, and my parents told me I needed to have a job. And so I went to the Career Center and I saw a listing for typing, part-time, flexible. I thought, okay, perfect. And so at first I thought I was going to a tile company, and because I misread the post. And when I got there, I was very surprised not to see any tile. But a lot of books with maps in them and a lot of paper. And anyway, I somehow got that job. And what I was doing was typing preliminary title reports and title policies.
Wow.
So I worked there part-time in the title department until about 2001-ish. And at that time, I was just about finished at Cal Poly, and they were like, what are you going to do? And I figured I was moving home. And they said, well, we could use you in escrow. And so we'll pay you this, you'll get insurance. And I thought, well, that'll cover the rent, and I don't have to move home.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I moved over as an escrow receptionist assistant in 2001, and have been doing that ever since.
Wow.
I got promoted to escrow officer in 2005.
Oh, you did? Wow. So a long time now.
So a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Clearly you love it. I mean, there's a lot to love about it.
There is a lot to love about it.
Yeah.
Like, my favorites are our first-time home buyers.
Yep.
Or even people that are downsizing to move closer to family because they're excited about that. So
I agree with that. That's an exciting part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be helpful, helping people out.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
But
that's wonderful. Good long time. I've known this girl, I'll tell you what. How old is Dylan now?
Dylan is 12.
Before he was even born. So that's a long time.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I want Elizabeth, you to go into a few things here with us. First of all, when you look up, the definition of escrow, it is a weird and, convoluted kind of thing. When someone asks you, what is escrow? What is your definition?
So I tell people I am a neutral third party and the keeper of all funds and documents.
Wow.
So
that does sound pretty important, right? The keeper.
The keeper.
Yeah. I like that.
We operate under mutual written instruction, meaning both parties, buyer and seller, have to agree. They have to agree in writing. And once that's happened and we have everything in writing, all funds to comply with that contract, then we can disperse funds and record the documents with the county recorder. But the main part of our role, I think, is maintaining that neutrality. So, and taking that mutual instruction. We can't operate only on the instruction of the buyer or only on the instruction of the seller.
Right, I'm glad you cleared that because you being a third party, you're not representing either side.
Correct.
You're working for everyone.
Everyone.
Agents, buyers, sellers, lenders.
So,
yeah. I mean, really, you're like the babysitter of the documents and such, not so much the contract itself.
Correct. Sometimes I will say we're kind of like the wedding coordinator.
Oh, good. That's a
right,
good
of a real estate transaction. So we're coordinating with buyer, seller, their respective agents, the lender. It gets really fun if the buyer is also selling a property and the seller is also buying a property, because then we're dealing with all of those people too.
Right. Some of you folks I'm working with now are buyers and sellers, and it can get confusing.
It can.
So Elizabeth, keeps those documents separate. Yeah. And with Elizabeth talks about those documents, when we have a complete signed agreement, it goes to escrow. It goes to you.
It goes to us. And that's what we use to open escrow. And that's our contract. That's our escrow instruction. That's what we have to follow and comply with by the end of the transaction.
Yeah. So keeping in compliance, let's put it that way, with all that is said on the actual purchase agreement when we give it over to Elizabeth. So yeah, you have a big job. You know, so when we do give you those documents, there's something called an EMD.
Yes.
Often it's referred to as good faith deposit. How does that work as far as you as an escrow officer taking that money, or how does that work?
So the earnest money deposit is the dollar amount is agreed upon between buyer and seller on that contract, and it can be brought into us via personal check or cashier's check or wire transfer. I believe the contract does default to wire transfer. So we get the wire instructions to the buyer. We request that the buyer call us to confirm those instructions, just for security purposes, to verify that they are legitimate, that they were not hacked along the way to them in the email.
Yeah. Lots of wire fraud.
A lot of wire fraud, and we can touch on that a little bit more.
We will.
But yeah, so right now we're seeing a ton of deposits coming in by wire.
Gotcha.
3 business days is what it's supposed to be to escrow, unless something different was agreed upon in the contract.
In our contract, yeah.
Right.
And would you say, in your opinion, wire transfer would be the safest or most effective way to get a deposit in?
It's the fastest way.
Fastest, okay.
And then
That's
the other plus of it is, if the transaction were to cancel and the buyer is entitled to receive their deposit back, especially if it cancels early, we can return that deposit right away. With a personal check, we have to hold for about 10 business days.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think that still existed.
Yes. I know they clear immediately, but the policy on personal checks.
Okay. Well,
It's
that's
10
not really. A
days.
bank will hold a large deposit
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a huge
They're
deposit.
large deposits. I mean, as the prices have gone up, so have the deposits. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that
not,
makes a lot of
it's
sense.
customary now to see a $20,000 EMD.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have to hold. So that part is kind of stinky for.
Yeah. And as most of you know, you have 3 business days to get it to escrow, then it gets on a hold, you know, if you do have a check come in. So I would say wire or a cashier's check, right?
Right.
Would be,
Which is, I think, why they've changed the contract to default to wire. It's
Yeah.
for speed and also efficiency, all the things.
yeah, so we can keep on moving forward with it.
I think
you
for
know.
lenders too, it's easier to trace. They can trace it right away because they have to verify those funds for a loan, and so they don't have to wait for it to clear and get a
Right.
copy of the paid check and all those things.
I would say it would be easier to track.
Yeah.
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 And let's talk a little bit about wire fraud, since we are kind of on that.
Yeah.
That's part of our contract anymore, that we have a disclosure.
Yeah.
Many of you have seen that. Are you for wire fraud? What exactly have you come across any of that?
Yes.
And how does that affect, or what happens if you're alerted? You're alerted, I assume, from, I don't know, your tech people. How does that work for
No,
you?
so the way we've seen it come up for a buyer is they'll, fortunately through your disclosures, we disclose also about the possibility of wire fraud. So buyers are getting more savvy to it and asking a lot more questions, which is awesome.
Yes.
Because typically how it plays out is email is hacked, and it's usually our Gmails, Hotmails, Yahoos that are most susceptible to hacking.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So the bad guys get in to the email and they watch it, and they can see conversations going on about an escrow or a purchase, and then they will create an email that looks like it's coming from the agent, the lender, the mortgage broker, or possibly me.
Wow.
saying it's time to wire your money. And we'll send wire instructions, and they've gotten pretty good. They'll use our letterhead, and maybe they'll just one off the account number, something.
Wow.
And, you know, if you're busy buying and selling and packing and all the things, you know, maybe it was buying, you just do it. That is why it's so important to make that phone call to your escrow person just to verify those instructions. And we've had a few circumstances where I believe in both cases it was suggested to come from the mortgage broker, local mortgage broker, and we had not asked for funds. We were not ready for funds.
Wow.
They were not our wire instructions.
That is just scary, right?
It's very scary.
So your
very
advice
scary.
is
Call.
call. Okay. So call where the wire's coming from, you as the buyer.
Call the recipient of your wire. So in this case, call Placer
call
Title.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And say, hey, the wire's being sent.
And can I confirm
Confirm. Okay.
these instructions? And we'll just go through it. It's going to, you know, City National Bank, routing, account number. It's quick.
Gosh.
It's just one little step that really does help. Or at least call and say, hey, did you send me the wire instructions? Are you looking for my closing funds? Because we don't typically do that without a phone call or without, like, you're expecting that as a buyer from us.
Right.
By the time we get there.
And it doesn't come in the first few days either. Right.
Not for closing funds.
For the closing funds.
No,
yeah.
that would
It
be
would come at
later.
the end.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's just so scary the way that they can hack in there and make it look so official.
Yeah.
So
Proceeds. So the seller, the way we are trying to protect the seller's proceeds is we require a notarized instruction for the wire details.
got you.
And it has to be, it's not just a notarized instruction, it has to be a Placer Title employee or a Placer Title approved notary.
Got you.
So
Well,
we've had very little pushback. I mean, once we say, look, we are just trying to protect your funds. Because once upon a time, you could email us that information.
Yes.
You could call us with that information.
those days, yeah.
But they've gotten too good. The fraudsters have gotten too good at creating false phone numbers. So the company said, no more. You have to get this notarized instruction. And when we meet with the seller, it does bring some peace because some are hesitant. They don't want the wire, and they also don't want their check held for 20 days.
right.
But you know, we can explain. Look, that no one can change that. You have to change this. You would have to come back and see me in order for this to get changed. And so that does seem to bring some peace.
Well, and once they understand it, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, this fraud stuff has caused so many issues
Yeah.
for all of us, and
It's terrifying.
it is terrifying. Have you had it where any escrow has been affected by any fraud or suspected?
No, not any. No, I have not.
Wow, gosh, that's amazing.
But there have been within the company, and I know within the county with the different title companies. It's terrifying for all of us
It
because once
really
that
is.
money, it goes to an overseas account typically,
Right.
and once it's overseas, by the time we figure it out, it's often too late. I do believe there was a circumstance where the money did go, but it went stateside first, and the FBI was able to get a portion of it back.
Wow, that is just.
But
you
not
know,
all of it.
We used to see this kind of thing in the old days of the movies where you know, these guys
About the
were-
future.
Yeah, about the future.
Yeah. Now here we are.
Isn't that interesting? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, and thank you for going in detail on that because you know so many of us we know, we hear, we sign the disclosures, we
Yeah.
read, but it really affects even locally. It's affecting.
Yeah, it has happened in this county.
Yeah. So it is a
So.
real threat and a real thing, and that's why you're constantly told about this.
Yeah, and I do think, especially here on the Central Coast, because it's so small and it's so safe, and everybody knows everybody
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we don't think it happens here, but unfortunately, we are not immune.
I know it. When we're in small towns, you know, they tell us to not be
Yeah.
complacent, and it's
Right.
hard not to get
It's hard.
complacent.
Yeah.
It so is.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. You going into that is really important. So when you go through this process of escrow, and by the way, Elizabeth is talking to you, the buyer, the seller, myself, the lender. We're all, hey, did you get this or that, Elizabeth? But when it comes down, as we go through the process, when you get to loan documents, Elizabeth is also in charge of those things. So when I say to someone, loan docs are coming into escrow, it's, oh, okay, but what does that mean? What is that, right?
So when the buyer is getting financing, we are very involved with the lender up front, early in the transaction, because they need our fees, they need our preliminary title report, they need a bunch of goodies from us up front. And then we kind of wait. And the lender might reach out needing an updated closing statement or whatever. But during that time, the lender is getting all of their preliminary approval things done.
Yes.
So they can get the infamous clear to close. And then once they get that clear to close, then we as escrow can anticipate docs kind of any minute.
Really? So you come in any time once it's clear to close.
Yeah. And it varies on the lenders. And they'll usually let us know so we can kind of have a heads up.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as those docs arrive to us, we let both agents know, buyers, listing and selling agent know, and then work them up, which in our world means going through the lender's instructions, making sure we are able to comply with them, and then also producing our closing statement to match the lender's CD.
I see. So you have to make sure everything's compliant.
Yeah.
Because
there's lots of that.
Yeah, compliant. Yeah, right. So you have to go through all of that and make sure everything adds up before. See how when you, the buyer seller, come in, it's already all done for you. Yeah. It's really a lot to it.
There's a lot to it. We're trying to do it as quickly as possible.
Right.
Because of course, oftentimes the buyer was waiting to sign docs yesterday, but
exactly. And a bazillion pages, by the way.
Bazillion pages, yes. But so once we've got the statement, dialed in, that's when we reach out to the buyer, say, hey, we've got your docs in. Would you like to come sign in our office, or we could send a notary to you, or if they're over in another state, we send a notary to them there.
Yes. So you have a notary network.
We do. So we have to use a approved notary.
Yes.
And so we have various signing services that we can utilize all over the country.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's easy.
Because so many of buyers are from out of the area. Oftentimes.
A lot.
So yeah, that is so very helpful.
Yeah, it's very handy. And the other thing, in California at this point, the loan documents do still need to be wet signed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We can do a lot of our escrow package now electronically. You can do your contract electronically. But those lenders' documents, at least in the state of California at this time, they want wet signatures.
So you have to physically have people come in.
Yes.
That's what and most of you probably know that. The wet signature is you come in and physically original signatures.
We get a lot of questions. It's very generational, but we get a lot of, I'll call, we got your loan docs. Can we just do that through DocuSign?
Yeah. Yeah. See, there's still that, being really careful about, okay, it all says what it says in person. There's still things that still have to be done in person.
Yes.
And these are important, biggest purchase of your life documents that you want them to be sure they're correct.
Correct.
Yeah. That's why escrow officers are so important. They're very, very important to this process. And so you call the buyer in.
Yeah.
And you sit down and go through it.
We go through the closing statement. We go through all the lender documents. Ideally, that's also when we go over the wire instructions with them for, their funds to close. Sometimes if we're running tight, if we're, supposed to close like later that day.
Yeah. Which happens.
Yeah. Then maybe we did that over the phone so they can get their wire set up before they even come in or bring a cashier's check in or whatever.
Perfect.
But yeah, so they get everything signed. It is a good stack of stuff, 150-ish pages.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah. People always ask, how long will it take? Well, it depends how much you read.
Yeah.
There's
paraphrasing and there's, I'll read that later, or important pieces of the documents, right? The payment and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And that's, yes.
And,
So
and
about
as a-
45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, at least that long, I would
Yeah,
think, you
yeah.
know. And then the buyer, as a buyer, they're bringing in their
The closing
quote
funds.
closing funds,
Yeah.
which is the remainder
Of the
of their-
down payment.
of the down payment
Yeah.
and such,
Yeah.
which you take and put into your escrow account
Correct.
until
Because we are the keeper of funds and documents.
that's right. Because she's the keeper, and you're waiting for the lender funds
Correct.
to come in. Then, when everything's in,
When everything's in. Correct.
you disperse the funds.
Yeah. So here's the other part. When buyers come in to sign docs, they often think, oh, so are we done? Are we closed? Well, no.
When they sign, yeah, I can see that. I can see
In
that.
other parts of the country, maybe so.
Yeah.
But in California, closing is when the documents record and the funds are then dispersed.
Good point.
Not when you sign.
Because what happens after you sign? Go into that.
The buyer signs, those docs go back to the lender. Typically now that's something that we are able to just scan and upload to the lender. Once upon a time we had to actually overnight them back
Yes.
to the lender, and
I
and
remember
there's a
that.
handful that still want original docs before funding.
No kidding.
Yeah, not
Interesting.
fewer and fewer.
Yeah.
But they do still exist, and we're like, huh?
Why do you want
What?
that? Overnight.
Really?
Scan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
get you.
typically, we are able to scan, upload to a portal type thing. Lender goes in, reviews them, gets back to us, says, we still need this, this, and this, or no, we're good, we're clear to fund. And then once we get that clear to fund, we let everybody know. Lenders confirm funding. We'll let you know when that wire comes in, and we can release our recording.
And release to record means
Means letting the county recorder know to record and post these documents to the county record. And in San Luis County, that is also done electronically.
it is. So it's not a phone call you make.
No.
You send that whatever document showing, hey,
It's
we're all
uploaded
done.
to a portal.
Gotcha.
Our title people review everything prior to releasing. So docs are uploaded to a portal, title reviews, and then they get submitted to the county recorder.
Got you. I have to ask you this too because it's really interesting to me. Elizabeth will say, and many of you have heard me say, okay, the file's released to be recorded.
Yeah.
Or for recording, however you
Yeah.
say that. And when you say it's into a port, it goes into a portal, so someone's constantly monitoring that,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't take a week to record. Like that same day, after you have told me, we've released to record, it's like maybe an hour. It could be more than an hour.
It can be, yeah.
Right? It could be
Yes.
end of day even.
Yep.
But typically that day or a few hours after. So someone's monitoring that. It's not some robot. Maybe it is a robot saying, okay,
Yeah.
next.
No, I don't think. No, it's people down in San Louis.
It's people. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with San Luis County, we can typically release up to about 3:00.
Oh,
for
no
same
kidding.
day,
Gotcha.
and then it'll push to the next day.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Many of you know there's cutoff times for wires of funds,
Yes.
and the recording. There are cutoff
Lots of
periods
cutoff
of time. So
Lots of-
yeah. So Escrow does everything they can to get it in there, but it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And then there's other counties where they don't allow all day recording. Like LA County's only 8 a.m. Santa Barbara County, I believe, is
Really?
the same. Yeah.
Isn't that so? Yeah. It's just so different. Everything, just like real
But
estate
that's
markets.
what, yeah,
Right.
and that's
They're
where it
different.
gets like kind of fun and interesting is keeping all that straight.
Yeah. No kidding.
And like, what if, sometimes we'll have a transaction that's closing here in San Luis County to fund something that's going in Santa Barbara County. So they usually will have to wait a day
Got you.
because they only do 8 a.m. recordings with a few exceptions. But
See, and in her mind, I can see her mind being this
Oh,
whole,
it's-
right, going constantly and having to keep all this straight. I couldn't do it. I'm just telling you, it would drive me insane.
perfect. It's perfect for my ADD brain.
That's why you do it, right? That's why
Probably. Like, squirrel.
you do it. Hey, that's why we go to you to keep all this straight. Because then I'm off into something else. What, Elizabeth? What? Oh, my God. That's so great. I thank you for going into all that detail because we really, and many of us, including me, there's some things I'm going to learn from you that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I knew you had a lot on your plate, but then there's even more than that. So when the loan documents, all that recording happens, then you're closed.
Then we're closed, and
Right.
we get to send the happy message out
Yes.
to our agents and
I
say,
love getting that message from you.
I
And
love
to
giving
pass
that
it on.
message. That's
And to
my
pass
favorite
it on.
part, is to deliver that message, and then I know, then you get to share that with your client, and
Yes.
that's
the happy
why
moment.
we do it.
Yeah, that's right. Making people happy.
And then sometimes maybe have a phone call later, go, oh my god, we made it.
Yeah, because as most of you know, they're bumpy rides.
Yeah, very
there
bumpy.
Could be bumpy rides along the way,
Very bumpy,
right?
especially since in this market it's
Yeah, it's just
exceptionally bumpy.
yeah, it's just kind of a different market right
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah.
Right. But yeah, we get through it, and you know, it's a team effort. You know,
All around.
right? That's Elizabeth, myself, the other agents, the
lender.
lenders, everybody that's involved. It's just really a team effort.
And it works best when everybody's an active participant.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like everybody.
Everybody, and to be on
Everybody.
top of things, and when you're asked, hey, I need something, then get it to you,
Yeah.
because you can delay, even with a lender, delaying getting your paperwork in
Yeah.
can delay things. So yeah, it's
We love
wonderful.
local.
Yes,
So I
yes.
feel like that really helps. With
It helps a
smooth
lot.
Transaction,
It helps a lot.
local agent, local lenders.
Completely agree with that. Completely.